I, the master of tactical retreats, will not lose again so easily. You resist even my fistest of blows.
So I've been working on the build, which is pretty good, and I've been playing on in-game plus, as you can see, and pretty much everything has been completed, and I feel like this build is going to be awesome, at least for the in-game plus. And for the sake of fairness, I'm going to show you the build, which is at level 160, and I promise you, you will be able to go into areas which are level where you should be level 212 even, and still be able to kick ass. This is how good it is to actually master Omnyo in this game. And those are my stats. I have 20 pretty much everywhere. I'm just making sure that my weight is in the green, my weight class is in the green, because you don't want to like be spending too much ki whenever you are attacking, and you want to make sure that your magic, which represents Omnyo, is quite high as much as your skill, because your skill is also it's about your ninjutsu. And the thing is, as a ninja, you use both Omnyo, and I feel like to some degree ninjutsu is even more important because you get to refresh it by attacking. So yeah, those are the stats. 160. I have enough right now. I have enough Amrita staved to be able to go to level 250, which is right now the maximum level. And I'm not going to do that because, again, I don't think you need to go that high anyway to be able to deal massive damage. So those are the stats, and as you can see here, I have 525 in Omnyo, and I have almost 300 in Ninjutsu. One thing you need to make sure you do is to claim every single piece of damage you can get from every single source. The thing is, in this game, you are allowed to get 1% here and 2% over there, and at the end of the day, if you get 1% from 10 sources, well, that's 10%. So you want to make sure you claim your titles, and you make sure that you invest those into maybe damage, or I don't know, something like right here. I could go for, this is pretty useless, so who cares, collection, or we can go for martial art damage, but we can't because it's almost maxed out. What about familiarity bonus? I don't know. So you want to make sure that you go into the titles and claim as many things as you can. You want to prioritize damage, and the rest is up to you. Now, the second thing you need to make sure you do is to go into your skill management. I feel like this is the most important thing you could do to make sure that the build works. Having your stats alone don't matter if you don't make sure that you get the right skill for the right class. And by classes, I mean the ninja and the samurai. They go styles, but you know, classes, styles, it's just the same. Those are the skills I've decided to settle with when it comes to this build. Rigor of the Gods increases my elemental damage by 10%. Wrathful Dragon, which also makes sure that whenever I land a ninjutsu, the enemy is going to receive even more elemental damage. The thing is, this build is centered around Ninjutsu and Omnyo, which means you will be inflicting a lot of damage, which is elemental. So anything you can do to increase your elemental damage is awesome. Then we have this skill, which allows me to deal damage to an enemy provided I use a Ninjutsu, which is a different, I'll say, affliction. Let's say, for example, I use a lightning Ninjutsu and then I use a fire one. It's going to deal more damage, exactly 12% more damage, because I did use something different. Then we have Patience of the Gods, which increases how fast I actually afflict enemies. We have Dreadbringer, which increases my ninjutsu and Omnyo power depending on how many negative effects I have on the enemy. And you can see that with the build-up being fast, it's going to be quite unusual to not have at least 1 or 2 affliction at the enemy at the time. We also have the Throne Blade counter, which I really love. I feel like you can do without this, but the thing is, sometimes you can get a perfect dodge and knock enemies, down. You can actually interrupt them, you can, do something, you can even break their weak spots, because sometimes I feel like it auto-targets. The shuriken you throw whenever you perform a dodge is going to auto-target their weak spot. So it's coming handy a lot for me. I know it has nothing to do with elemental damage, but I feel like it's quite useful. I feel like you can do without it. You don't need this Then we have the snake bite technique, which is going to increase my damage over time by 16%. Very important because again, elemental damage, I have poison, which is really good, especially against humans. Then we have Ninjutsu Link, which is going to increase my Ninjutsu stack whenever I defeat an enemy. Again, it's very important because sometimes you will be surrounded and you want to make sure you have enough ninjutsu, enough, things to survive if it's like a long wave, especially when you find yourself in a Crucible gauntlet, for example. I'm working on a separate samurai build, which is going to come later because I haven't been that lucky when it comes to the drops, but it's going to come together very soon. So stay tuned for the actual build, the actual samurai build. But those are what I'm using right now. Deflection Expert to increase the window for deflections, Unshakable to reduce the damage I'm taking by 10%. I'm playing basically as a tank. I also have these to allow me to increase the damage I deal whenever I perform deflections. I also have this one, again, another means to reduce the damage I take by 15% whenever my art proficiency is, enabled. Then we have this one, which is, I'm still debating about keeping this. The reason why is because, well, it's pretty useful, but it requires me to switch to the samurai and perform a lot of parries. But then when you switch back to the ninja class, you're able to, because you still have the buff you acquired, which is going to reduce how much ki you spend whenever you attack. With the ninja class, it's quite useful. That's the only reason why I'm keeping this right now, but I'm still debating about switching for anything else. Then we have Polish Form, which is going to decrease how much ki I spend whenever I'm using a martial art. And when it comes to my common skills, which in my opinion could be just as important as your ninja skills, I have the Mysteries of the Omnyo Magic, which allows me to sometimes use my Omnyo tools without them getting spent. It's almost the same as Untouched Omnyo, and if you get very lucky, sometimes you can have multiple uses of some abilities without getting to spend them, which is going to be awesome because the more elemental damage you can stack, the more damage you deal. Key sapping follow-up. Basically, this is going to allow me to deal more damage whenever the enemy is in a winded state, which is going to happen quite often. The style shift flow, which is going to allow me to cancel my attacks more quickly. The more the merrier, which is going to again allow me to cancel anything I do faster to be able to use my summoning seals. Awakening, which is like so important. It allows you to cast your Omnyo magic way faster. Amplification allows you to extend the duration of whatever Omnyo magic item you're using, and then this skill allows you to move while using the Guardian Spirit. This one is not super useful, and the only reason why I have it here is because it helped me so many times not die and remain alive, because I can cast away whenever I run out of ki, allowing me to get some distance. Lastly, we have Style Shift Gust, which allows me to basically repel projectiles. Those two can be, I feel like you can do anything else. The problem is there's nothing better. You can go for life, you can go for 5 more attack. Doesn't do anything for me. That's why I'm using something that's actually useful. The point whenever you are choosing your skills is to choose something that works all the time as opposed to something that only works sometimes. This is always going to work. This always. That's the thought process I had to have when making the build. Always choose a skill which always works as opposed to something that works just sometimes. Now let's talk about the Guardian Spirit. I'm using Enko because, well, I have 14% more damage over time, and that's basically it. I deal more damage against enemies caught on fire. Yeah, that's not very crazy, but most enemies in this game are weak to fire, and I feel like the attack you use, the Guardian skill, is pretty fast, and you want to be able to deal damage fast to be able to interrupt enemies when they're about to use burst attack. So that's the whole reason why I'm using Anko, and the stats are pretty good, I would say. And then for the samurai class, I'm using Guhin because, well, reduce damage taken, more damage against enemies which are out of ki, and less ki spent whenever. But it's basically a tank build, honestly, for the samurai, and Omnyo Ninjutsu build for the ninjas. I feel like when it comes to your Guardian Spirit, you can do whatever. For example, Ho-Ho, I think it's pronounced. It's a good one. I just don't like the Guardian skill because sometimes it gets me killed. But usually this one is very good also, and it complements very well the elemental damage setup you have right here. Now let's talk about the Omnyo Box, where you get to choose well, your skills. I think in the Yang position, the demon soul core is very important because it allows you, I think this is the only one in the game which gives you elemental damage, and the second one, the second affliction, is not very important, but the first one is really good. 5% more elemental damage, I'll take it. The problem is it's very difficult to get because you need to wait for the demon to actually spawn. You have to be lucky enough for the thing, for the soul core to be blue, to be rare. It's not going to be easy. It took me a lot of tries because you only get one go before he just goes for days and then comes back to whoop your ass. The second one we have is the Demon of Obsession Soul Core, and this one increases my break and also how fast I can build my my spirit. And also I made sure, because you can reroll some things, you know, I can reroll those. I made sure to choose something that will allow me to build status effects way faster, exactly 18% faster. And remember, we already have 24% from the skill tree, the skill management tree for the ninja class. So basically we can build status effects pretty fast, and the metal damage is going to stack up really fast, and that's exactly the point. When it comes to the the yin position, I decided to go for power, the Yoki Soul Core, to get more, damage overall. The Hellgas, which is amazing. This tornado is amazing, and if you get very lucky, sometimes you can get like 6 or 7 tornadoes just shredding everything. It's pretty good. Then we have the barrier, because, well, I don't have the thing to allow me to mainly dispel yokai realm pools, which is why I'm using this, and also more stamina recovery. Basically, I have the water familiar because I have nothing which deals with water damage. Mainly, then I have the Hell Shock Talisman, which is amazing. It's like a one-shot. If you can make sure that you already have the enemy affected by 2 or more status effects and you use Hell Shock, that's like 1/4 of the health just gone. It's really, really efficient. And lastly, we have the Life Leech Talisman, because I like to play aggressively, and usually I use a talisman of protection, but I feel like this one is way better because you get to be aggressive and you get to get health back for being aggressive. So basically, it's a win-win situation. And also, you should not forget to assign some client favors depending on where you pledge, because they are really good. So for example, this one gives me 32 more Omnyo power, and it depends on your class, within that rank, but I would say you have nothing to lose. It's basically just free stats you can claim whenever. So don't forget to actually go and pledge for a clan depending on the build you're working on. And because I'm working on the magic Omnyo elemental damage build, I decided to pledge with Akechi, which is pretty good. So far it's been pretty good. Now let's talk about the main event, the actual build. What am I using? So basically, I feel like the most important, or rather one of the most important items that you can get, is the Yasakani Magatama. So this one, I don't know how to get it, how lucky you have to be to get it, but I think it's guaranteed to drop at some point. I think you will have one drop for you at some point, and when that happens, what you want to do to increase it, it's really rare, it's super rare. What you want to do is go to the preparation, to the blessing thing, and then go to Sudama blessing. Here you can increase the drop rate of some items. It's still going to be a bit tricky, but then when you get one of those Magatamas, what you can do is increase the drop rate to get the other one for the other class. I first got the one for the samurai class, and it was pretty tricky to get the one for, see, mind you, I only have one right now for the ninja class despite having the thing enabled. That's actually crazy. Absolutely crazy. So it's very rare, and you have to be lucky to get it, and you also have to be lucky now to have the proper grace, because it can come with the wrong grace and it won't be able to complement your build. So a lot of things have to go your way to be able to. This is not even the grace I'm choosing personally, but I have to deal with, I have to make deal with what is given to me anyway. Yasakani Magatama, very important. I'm also using the divination board because it gives me another 20 magic power, which is huge, and then the rest is like pretty insignificant. But yeah, when it comes to my weapons, I feel like rather than telling you what weapons to use, I'm going to tell you what grace to focus on. I'm using the grace of Jurojin. The reason why is because I can get life drain every time I hit an enemy with my Omnyo. I get 4% less damage taken, very irrelevant, but I'm getting 50 magic power in Omnyo. That's huge. By doing basically nothing, just wearing clothes, I'll take it any day. So yeah, that's the reason why I'm using Jurojin. And mind you, the reason why Yasakani, is very important is because it's going to reduce by 1 the set bonus requirement. Let's say, for example, I was supposed to use 5 pieces of this armor set to be able to benefit from the set bonus. I don't have to wear all 5, I can just wear 4 because it's going to reduce by 1 what I actually need to wear, which is very important because when making builds like this, sometimes you will not get lucky and you will only have some pieces with some graces, and it's not going to be easy to make the build happen. So again, have to be super lucky. And I'm using Tonfas and the katana because they pull out the Jirojin thing. I have life drain whenever I attack, I have melee damage, which is also increased jutsu ki damage, and I can build status effects 5% faster. Same thing with the katana. I have like more ki damage, more melee damage, 5% more thing, and also I can build. The enemies are going to always be paralyzed, to be honest with you, like almost always. So I'm building my spirit really fast. And more spirit means I can attack with my guardian skill more often and set people on fire. And if they are on fire, well, I can even build more spirit now, and it's kind of crazy. When you have things going your way, it's actually crazy damage. And then I'm using the Servant of the Gods Grace as the second one because, well, this one is actually quite interesting. I was sleeping on it and then I thought to myself, let me try it, and actually it was pretty good. The thing is, this one requires you to actually have Sacred Water. And I feel like Sacred Water is something that you never actually pay attention to the moment you get access to the barrier Omnyo item. But that would be a big mistake because, now hear me out, you can sometimes get lucky and get untouched Sacred Water, which basically means that you will not be consuming any Sacred Water whenever you use one of those. You also have more chances for the Omnyo magic you use to not get consumed. Again, I feel like ideally the goal is to have a lot of untouched Omnyo because then you don't get to spend your resources and you get to deal a lot of damage all the time without getting punished and without ever running out. And when you have 5 PCs, you can have additional damage whenever you pop a Sacred Water and then use your Omnyo. Again, it's really good, and you can become a complete menace whenever you pop something as simple as Sacred Water. I used to dismiss those items in every single Nioh, but this time I felt like, you know what? I will use them because they're really good. So those are my stats. I'm going to glance over whatever I did with the items, the chest PCs, the gauntlets, but basically do whatever you can to complement your build. I have a lot of reduced key consumption because I'm super aggressive. I didn't get lucky all the time, but when I did get lucky, I was very lucky. This isn't even the full build. This is not quite where I want it to be, and sometimes you don't get to choose what you actually get to use. Now, when it comes to my ninjutsu, I feel like you want to go with something that actually deals elemental damage. I feel like Thundering Calamity is a must. This thing is crazy, and mind you, whenever you kill something with any of your ninjutsu, is going to refill itself. So you don't really get to spend your resources, provided you make sure you get the kill with ninjutsu. I also am using Infernal Calamity because this thing can be used as a sniper. I feel like sometimes it's going to not work. I don't know if it's a bug, but sometimes when you're fighting humans, specifically in some boss fight situations, it's not going to work, and that gets me killed because then the stagger is gone and then the enemy hits me in the face and I'm just dead. But yeah, usually it's really good to snipe people, and whatever is weak to fire can sometimes just die within one trigger, and because it dies you get the thing refilled, which is awesome. I'm using Poison Mist just because I tried a long time to find something to slot in between, but I just couldn't. Everything felt slow, and this one is great because it's going to stagger enemies. But I feel like you can also use the Fire Breath, the Katan thing, the Flame Breath. I feel like this one is just as good, but because I already have something for fire, I feel like it's very unnecessary. But the thing is, I feel like poison doesn't count as elemental damage. For example, lightning damage, yes. Fire, yes. Water, yes. Wind, yes, but not poison. I feel like it's the same thing for paralysis. It doesn't count as, elemental damage. It counts as a status ailment, which is, you need to be able to make the distinction. But yeah, those are basically what I'm using, and also my skills if you want to, take a look. For the Tonfa, well, this is also what I'm using. And for my blade, this is what I'm using. By the way, I highly suggest you apply level sync whenever you are trying to replay a mission, because you want to make sure you get the best possible gear whenever you get the drop. One thing you need to make sure of, again, is to build a Ninjutsu gauge. So let's say you successfully get your hands on the good stuff and you want to make sure you actually use them efficiently. The first thing I'm going to use is my sacred water. Boom, it got consumed, unfortunate, but I'm going to increase my power, have a barrier, and then my water thing, and now it's time to go. And I'm almost dead, but that's completely fine. Wait, I can focus. 3, 2, 1, boom. Thing is broken, and now, again, as long as I don't have my Ninjutsu, I can puke on him right now. Puking. And the crazy thing is, you can see now how much damage the poison deals. Like, I haven't hit the guy in a long time. I feel like he could probably die of poisoning, which is crazy. Again, I haven't touched him in a while, and bro is dying. Yeah, this is pretty good. The thing is, poison is super good, which is the whole reason why I'm using it in the first place. So I'm going to poison you again, so you can see just how much damage it deals, which is again insane. I'm going to use this too to set you on. See, it's going to miss for some reason, but anyway. I'm also going to use my wind thing. It's afflicted, and boom, look at this nuke. Okay, I missed. It's fine. Another one. And another one. Oh, he healed. It's completely fine. Let's say we use this. Then I'm going to use my Guardian skill. I think he's dead. Oh my god. Yeah, so basically you don't have to do a single thing, except when you're going to face, you know, the big guys. It can be troublesome because they get to basically erase whatever you did to them. This is pretty unfortunate, you know. Very, very unfortunate, but you do the same thing here. You build your meter. Just build the meter. Can I puke on you? I'm going to be able to pick on you very soon. Oh, that's very unfortunate for you, dude. And then high stance for the big damage, and boom. Let's go. Thunder, and then this, and then this, and this, and this, just in case. He's super slow right now, which can sometimes throw you off. Puking on you. Uh-oh, I got slapped in the face, which is completely fine because I can be aggressive, you know. It's completely fine. This is the whole reason why I had a thing to allow me to recover health whenever I attack people. Very useful. Boom. And then puking on you. Almost dead. I'm going to puke one more time, maybe. Bang. Oh, he's having a hard time right now. Poor guy's having. Let me pick on you, and you're dead. I just run away and I emote on you. So basically, again, you need to make sure that you. Okay, the next guy is kind of troublesome. I forgot about him, but he's like very annoying. Power, and then very important that we do this. I want to use this one and the water thing because he's weak to water. Boom, jump, and boom, land. Let's go crazy. I feel like the key with this guy is not overcommit. He tends to like punish you for overcommitting. He's going to do his thing, fire thing, which is very unfortunate. Okay, see, the fire thing is very annoying, I gotta say. We need to make sure we have the thing again. The only thing I don't like about this boss is that he just runs away a lot, which really bothers me. Yeah, he just runs away a lot. Oh, okay. I don't want to transform right now. very, very annoying type of dude, I gotta say. I feel like I have to transform because he's just going to keep, you know, going away, which is very annoying. But maybe I just need to use my Ninjutsu. Maybe that's the key. I need water. Let's go. Maybe the key is to not attack him whenever he's in his domain expansion. That's the thing. Yeah, maybe the key is to not attack whenever they have the thing enabled. And for the last piece, I feel like I'm going to go very crazy here and pop everything. Pop everything we can pop, and then boom. I'm going to try my best to make sure that this guy is affected all the time. Okay, my poison. Oh, okay, we can go to town now. Boom and boom. It's completely fine. I can be aggressive. Boom. Again, I feel like they should not be able to just get rid of your things just like that. I feel like it's very annoying. Very annoying. Ooh, that's a big one. That was a big one. Let me pick on you. Ooh, he did not like that. Okay, so this is where we deal some big damage. Let me switch. Bang. Bang. High stance. And then big giga damage. Boom. And then big. Ooh, you know what? Let's end it with a bang. Like, oh no. See, I did not mean to do that. I did not mean to kill you like that, but I think that was a shuriken. Again, everything I have right now is working all the time to help me win. Right there, because I dodged, I was able to throw a shuriken which killed him, which was great overall. But yeah, you get the picture. Everything you have right now is working perfectly, and it's not really a good showcase of what you can do because you get to spend multiple resources on multiple waves of enemies, and it's not just one person. If it was just one person, he would have been destroyed immediately because I get to spend everything and I just need to build my ninjutsu and it's game over. So yeah, tell me what I can do to make sure I improve. I didn't get very lucky with some items I have right now. I'm still working on making this build better, and I sometimes just forget to switch to the samurai to like deflect and decrease my my key consumption. But again, I only switch to deal some massive damage because I can just do this aura farm and then slap you in the face. And then yeah, so yeah, tell me what I can do to improve, and I'll see you soon. Have fun. Bye.